I know. Before anybody starts freaking out in the comments, I know that anorexia isn't something people choose. I'm not anorexic, but just let me tell you the story, and hopefully by the end of it, you'll understand why I picked that for the video title. And we're rolling. Nobody was more Nobody was more suspicious than my two friends and coworkers, Cassidy and Raina. Shut up, Cole Sprouse, you're interrupting my filming. Riverdale premieres tonight? When I was in high school, there's only two people that realize. Ooh, I didn't think I was going to tear up at this. There's only two people that know the story I'm about to tell you, and even then, I don't think they ever realized the full extent of it. I'm not sure I ever told them. When I was in high school, I think maybe grade 10 or 11, there was a solid 3-month period where I tried to give myself anorexia. If I'm remembering correctly, I only weighed 130 pounds, maybe less, but I was just so sure that I needed to lose more weight. I got bullied in school pretty frequently, and a lot of the comments that were made were about either my weight or my appearance. I tried to act like they didn't bother me, but eventually that kind of stuff started taking a toll. It led to me starting to skip breakfast, forget my lunch money, and telling my parents I just wasn't hungry by the time supper rolled around. After the first few weeks, it got harder to hide. People started getting suspicious, and whenever I declined an invitation to go out and eat somewhere, a red flag would go up. Nobody was more suspicious than two of my friends and coworkers, Cassidy and Raina. Those aren't their real names, by the way. I changed them since I didn't ask them if it was okay to mention them on YouTube, since they don't know that I'm on YouTube. Anyway, back to the story. I love food. Not eating had been incredibly difficult for me, but I was like a good 2 months in when Cassidy and Raina invited me to Jungle Jim's. It's a jungle-themed restaurant we have in Newfoundland, and I absolutely love their food. Cassidy and Raina were already a little concerned at how little I'd seemed to be eating around them. And besides that, I have a hard time saying no to people, so when they invited me to go with them, I went. And I ate so much food. There were nachos and matzo sticks and chicken wings and chicken strips and onion rings. There was a whole lot of food. There's this big thing, it's a platter, it's called the kitchen sink, and it's too much for 3 people to eat, let alone one person. But I ate all of it. And immediately after I finished my order, I ran straight to the bathroom to throw it all up. It was a complete waste of money, but I just needed to taste it. And I realized, I knew that my friend Raina had followed me into the bathroom, but it was almost like it just didn't register. And all that was going through my mind was, I need to go throw this up right now. And I did. And when I came out of the stall and Raina asked if I was okay, I told her that I'd just eaten too much, and that's why I got sick. She bought it, and for a couple more weeks, I went back to starving myself. And then I got drunk. The same two friends I went to dinner with a few weeks later wanted to have a few drinks at Cassidy's house. Now, I was already a big lightweight, and I didn't have any food in my system. You see where this is going. After just a handful of drinks, I was completely hammered. But I wouldn't be able to tell you how many drinks I had because at some point in the night, I blacked out. I don't remember any of the events that took place. Anyway, I'd spent the night at Cassidy's house because my parents would have murdered me if I went home. And the next morning, Cassidy and Raina insisted that the 3 of us go to Tim Hortons for breakfast. Now, so far that morning, they had both already seemed a little off, but when they said that, I knew something was up. You see, when we both worked at a pretty stressful job together, we would all go to Tim Hortons if one of us needed to vent or cry or just get something off our chest. It was our go-to place when something was going on and we needed the support of friends. So we headed to Tim Hortons and they filled me in on the night before. Now, if you've ever blacked out, you probably know that the night ends with you sitting on a bathroom floor puking your guts up into a toilet. Well, I did that. And apparently, when Cassidy tried getting me to eat some crackers to help me sober up, I threw them into the toilet. When they asked me why I kept throwing the crackers into the toilet, I started crying and said it was because I hated myself. Again, I have zero recollection of this. When they told me I said that, I was genuinely blown away. I had just spent about 3 months trying to starve myself because I wasn't happy with my appearance, but it wasn't until they told me that it hit me how bad it was getting. This was a night that I was so incapacitated I was violently throwing up in my friend's bathroom, and my only concern was that if I ate a cracker, I might gain too much weight and think less of myself than I already did. After my meltdown with the crackers, Raina remembered what happened at Jungle Gyms, and I guess her and Cassidy were able to put the pieces together. Part of the reason Cassidy was especially concerned is because at this time, one of her young cousins was also trying to starve herself. If I remember correctly, she was pretty young and she had actually been hospitalized for it. We had a long talk and there were lots of tears, and after that, I slowly started eating regularly again. So what's the moral of the story? Be wary of what you say to people. Something may seem like a little comment to you or like you're just teasing a friend, but for somebody else, it could mean the difference between them brushing off these comments or taking them all to heart. I spent a good deal of high school being teased about my weight, and the end result was that I was so distraught with my appearance, I tried to give myself an eating disorder. We live in a world where there are already so many ridiculous standards for what people should look like. So when a family member or our peers says a comment that makes us feel like we aren't good enough, we tend to take it to heart a lot more than when it's the media doing it. According to the ANAD, at least 30 million people suffer from an eating disorder in the US alone. 30 million people that didn't choose to have an eating disorder. 30 million people that weren't able to start eating again as easily as I did. Anorexia, any eating disorder, is a terrible thing to go through. It's a terrible mental illness, and in today's society, we have people wishing it upon themselves because they don't like the way that they look. I need to believe that one day we can live in a world where people can look at themselves and be accepting of who they are. It's part of the reason I decided to call my viewers roses. It's not just because a rose is a pretty flower. It's because they have these thorns, these imperfections, but they're still so beautiful anyway. We all have thorns. We all have imperfections, but they're part of what make us who we are, and they shouldn't determine how unattractive or attractive we perceive ourselves to be. It's a process, roses, but starting today, I want you all to try and just love yourself a little bit more. Forget what people say about you or whatever you might hate about yourself. The world can be a dark and cruel and scary place, so if you can find any beauty in it, let it be you. Well, that's it for this video, roses. Sorry if it was a bit of a long one. I just felt like this was something that had to be said. If you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. And if you want any more information on anorexia or other eating disorders, there'll be links down below in the description. Remember, you're beautiful. I love you. And I'll see you guys sometime next week. Mwah! I hope that wasn't as cheesy as I feel like it was. It probably was.